One of the issue that I spent most of my time on in 2010 was the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. This was sort of my night job. The Secretary of Defense at the beginning of 2010 asked me and General Carter Ham, who was then commander of U.S. Army Europe, to co-chair a working group to assess the effects of the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the law that prevented gay and lesbian service members from serving openly in the military, the risk of repeal of that law on overall military effectiveness. And we were given 10 months to do our task. What was most interesting about that project was that through most of 2009, any discussion of Don't Ask, Don't Tell and the potential repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell was a very, very sensitive thing to do. And so around the Pentagon, you wouldn't have a discussion about Don't Ask, Don't Tell in a room of more than, say, 4 people behind closed doors, because we were so afraid of the issue getting away from us early. And we didn't want to repeat the experience of 1993 when this law was imposed. And so at the beginning of 2010, the president said, we got to move forward on this issue. He put it in the State of the Union, and Secretary Gates appointed General Ham and myself to chair this working group. Some people were not happy that we were going to go take 10 months to study this issue. And commissions and working groups and panels tend to have a bad reputation. It's sort of, the rap on them is that you appoint them, they go off while the political heat dies down, nobody ever hears from them again, and then they come up with something nobody pays attention to. But Secretary Gates, I think in his wisdom, and he was one of the most impressive clients I've ever worked for, recognized that if we were going to bring about change on this very controversial issue, we had to, in effect, have a conversation with the entire U.S. military first to get buy-in, to get them used to the idea, because for 17 years it had been a sleeper issue, pretty much. And so what Carter and I did was basically go have a conversation with the entire United States military over the next 10 months. We visited with our working group 51 installations. We came face to face with, I think, at least 25,000 service members in these large group sessions we'd have at each of these bases: Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, Army. We solicited 72,000 emails from service members. Everybody had an opinion on Don't Ask, Don't Tell. We should keep it, we should get rid of it. Everybody had an opinion. Nobody was shy about this issue. We solicited 3,600 confidential emails on an anonymous basis in a system designed to solicit the views of gay and lesbian service members. And we conducted a survey where we surveyed 400,000 service members, presidential polls of the entire nation. The sample size is very often 3,000 people, 4,000 people. We polled 400,000 people on this issue and got a 28% response rate. We polled 150,000 spouses on the issue. We learned a lot, obviously. And we had a 10-month dialogue. Memorable moments, a lot of opposition in these large group sessions to changing the status quo, a lot of opposition to permitting gay and lesbian service members to serve openly. And there was something negative about the connotation when you say serve openly. Somehow it conjured up an image for a lot of people that just couldn't get their head around. And so when we changed the terms of the discussion to allowing gay and lesbian service members to be honest about their personal lives, people were more receptive to the issue. I'll never forget, what was interesting is that, interestingly, the Navy, you know, where people are in the closest quarters, the Navy was the most receptive to change. Like, what's the big deal? And this one submariner at Norfolk said to me, sir, you can, he had been a submariner for 25 years. He said, sir, you can put women on my boat, you can put gays on my boat, but just don't take away my cigarettes, please. And within the special ops community, the sentiment we often heard expressed was a quote that ended up in our report. We had a gay guy in the unit. He was big, he was mean, he killed lots of bad guys. Nobody cared that he was gay. And so the survey results came back. They showed remarkable and frankly surprising receptivity to change. We went public with our report in December, right in the middle of the lame duck session of Congress in 2010, right after the midterms. And repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell passed probably 3 weeks later. Repeal has gone even smoother than General Ham and I predicted. It's a good news story.